So let's talk about naming variables in a program. When you have a program, you need to store the results of ongoing calculations. You might get an input from a user that you need to store somewhere. When you do that, you store it in a variable. A variable is basically a named memory location in a program. Generally, memory is byte organized and it has hexadecimal memory addresses. Fortunately, in new high-level programming languages, we don't need to know those hexadecimal memory addresses. All we need to know is the name of the variable. And we give the variable its name as the programmer. You will give the variable its name. Now, there's certain rules you must follow when you name variables. Firstly, we talked about it in Module 1. We talked about reserved words and keywords. Reserved words are those that have a particular meaning within the context of the language. You cannot use a reserved word as a variable because that already has a predefined meaning and you can't just arbitrarily choose to rename it. Secondly, your variable cannot start with a number. It must start either with a letter. The letter can be all uppercase or it can be lowercase. Your variable can also start with the underscore character that's allowed in Python. Okay. The other rule is that a variable name cannot contain spaces. The reason is when your interpreter looks at your program, it looks at it as a series of tokens. And one token is something that stretches from one space to the next space. And you suddenly have a space in your variable name, and you have just confused your interpreter. And interpreters don't deal with confusion very well. They just throw it back on your face. And so it becomes an error condition. Okay. After the first letter that you have, whether it's a capital A through Z or a lowercase a through Z, you can have any combination of numbers and letters or the underscore character. Generally, you will use the underscore character to simulate a space. So for example, if you had to have a variable named number space ONE1, you could write number underscore 1. That would simulate a space and it would still follow all the rules of the naming conventions of variables. The other thing is you need to know, as you saw in the ASCII collating table in Module 1, capital A is different from lowercase a. So thus, if I have a variable named cat, C-A-T with a capital C, and then I have a variable named cat, C-A-T with a lowercase c, my Python interpreter is now going to treat these two variables as different variables. They're not the same. In this module, further videos will show you how to write a simple Python program using variables. Enjoy!